Hello everyone, this is Adit back again with another video. So in the previous video, we have already implemented this playlist, and these playlists are coming from the back end, and we are all displaying the playlist. And like if you haven't watched the previous video, I would suggest you to watch the previous videos, and there are I think couple of videos to complete this Spotify clone, and we are doing it from end to end, like implementing the UI and then moving it to like implementing the Spotify APIs. So there are way too many things involved, and now I will also put the code in the description below. So if you don't want to watch that videos and just wanted to continue from here, so you can do that as well. And now what we're going to do, like in this video, we are going to like try to complete our home screen. Like we are going to make about three API calls, and we are going to render the some of the like APIs, like a user playlist and fetch categ. We are going to also fetch the categories of songs and album releases. So these are all we are going to cover in this video. But before that, there are a couple of things that we need to do, and that is on really on priority basis. So those are like if we just scroll it, there are some I while I was doing it, there were some errors, and that error was coming from a React Native reanimations, right? And since we are not using the reanimation anyway, like if you just go over here, we have just installed it, but we never kind of used it. And so what I'm thinking is, we should just remove it if we're not using it. So let's just do that. Yarn remove React Native reanimated. Yeah. So this will remove the React Native reanimated. And I think we don't need this React Native Redis as well. So we are going to remove that one as well. So let's just do that. Yarn remove React Native Redis, right? And apart from that, everything looks good to me as of now. But there is one more change that we need to do is remember earlier I told like we are going to move this all API call to a separate directory, like separate file, like this part. mm, This should go somewhere else. Like this is not a good way to write a complete URL to every APIs. So, and we are using Axios already. So I think that would be a good approach. And yeah, so we are going to do that. And there are some benefits of doing that as well. And we kind of need to do that in our application. So we will discuss that later in later videos. But for now, we're just going to introduce Axios Intercept, and we will try to implement that. Okay, so right now we are facing some issue over here. So I think I need to restart the server. And once I do that, let me just run on my iOS simulator. I will try to cut this part from the video, and let's ignore for now. And I think I need to delete this as well. Just delete this once. Maybe this will fix our the issue we are facing. Okay, so I just remove the node modules as well, and maybe this will resolve our issues. And we just run yarn again. Okay, so this is done now. All the packages are like installed, and now we just start our expo server. So to do that, we just need to run expo start. Okay, so our app is loaded now. And now what we're going to do is like first thing that we need to do is I'm going to introduce the is Axios Interceptor. So to do that, let's create a separate file. And inside the file, what we're going to do is uh, first we need to import the Axios. I think that will be imported. So let's just have Axios instance, and that will be a type of Axios instance. Okay, and then let's just import the Axios as well. Import Axios, and over here we are going to have just need to import this one. I don't know why this is not working. My imports are Axios instance. And now what we're going to do is let's have an Axios dot create, and inside the create, and we just have a base. We have already defined the base URL somewhere. So this is again not working. Let's import the base URL from the API, and this is the base URL. So not this one, this one. Yeah, so now let's just Axios instances. Oh, okay. So the mistake I made is like I created this JS file. Instead, it should be a TS, and that's the reason that it was throwing the error. So let's just have Axios instance. Okay, now it is working completely fine. And over here, what we're going to do is we're going to have headers. Inside the header, we will define the content type, and we are going to have application slash JSON. And then what we're going to do is inside the interceptor dot request dot use, and we just have any, and let's just do that, and we are going to have access underscore token, and then we just await and get data. Let's have access token. Let's make it a const, and then say the request dot headers authorization. We are going to pass our token, access token, right? And we are also going to return the request. This intercept might seems like irrelevant as of now, but later on we are going to need this when we are going to implement the refresh token. Right now, if you have gone through the code and if you have installed in your local machine and tried to use this app, then you might have faced like sometimes the token gets expired, and we haven't covered that refresh token part yet. We are going to cover that in a later videos. So because it's bit complicated, and there's we need to find a workaround, actually some kind of and I'm not able to figure out right now. So I'm just trying to figure it out, and then we will implement this, right? And we have this export default Axios instance, and we just save it. Now what we're going to do is like we are going to our users, and inside the user we need we don't need this anymore. So we just have Axios instance dot get, I think, and then we just need to pass this v1 slash me, right? Maybe something like this. And if we just move it, and if we just save it, I think this will work completely fine. I thought there won't be any error, but I don't know. I just got something wrong over here. We will look into it. And let's just give it a try. And v1 slash me. Yeah, this should work. Response dot await. We are using a sync. Great, great. And there is the access token, so it should work. But let's just refresh it once. Maybe this will. Yeah, so this is working. Now we're going to replace the same thing for other APIs as well. We have a playlist API, and there also we are going to just remove this access config, and instead of that, we're just going to have access instance dot get, and we just pass the URL, and let's just remove this one from here, and we don't need this console log anymore, and we just don't need this token to be passed over here. So let's just save it, and this should be working completely fine. Yeah, this is working completely fine. And if we just go to the other user, one thing that we don't need anymore is we don't need to pass a token from here. Since what we are going to do is, like, when we get the token, we are just going to pass it to our single storage, and from there, like everywhere, wherever we are going to use, we are just going to use it from the single storage. Yeah. So now response dot. Okay, so store. Why this is again showing some error? Okay, so this our like playlist is rendering, and now the next thing what we're gonna need to do is inside the store data. Let me check once. Store data. It seems okay. And there seems some error. I think why this is showing some error. Anyway, I'm just going to, since there is nothing much inside this config credential, there is just two strings, and I don't know why this is showing TypeScript error, so I'm just going to ignore it anyway. And next thing what we're going to do is we're going to create, like, first I want to just render uh what like let me just if we go off a home screen, let's just go to our home, and over here we can see we are getting the user playlist. Next thing what I'm thinking of using is get fetch categories. So to get the categories, first let's just go to APIs, and we define the API that we have for the categories, and that API is, I think, get categories, and we don't need anything over here. And then we're just going to return. I think we don't need to pass the base URL anymore over here. I think since we are passing the base URL already over here, so for the playlist as well, we don't need to pass the base URL. We can just remove it from here, and we can just pass something like this, and it should work. Yeah, it's working completely fine. We don't need to pass the base URL from here. We're just exporting the base URL from here, and we're just passing it to the interceptor. And by default, like from a single place, base URL is being set up. And if you guys don't know about the interceptor, what it does is, like, it checks every request that we are going to make, like for request and response. Like every request is going to go through the interceptor. So yeah. And inside the playlist as well, uh, we have fixed this endpoint, and let's have a endpoint for the categories as well. So for the category, we have one is browse categories, browse. I hope I don't make any mistake on the spelling. So yeah. browse categories, and then we are going to implement the, let's create another slice for the category, because maybe there is chances that we have more than one APIs related to the categories. So let's just have a different one. And inside the category, we're just going to copy paste from the playlist. So this will save some time. And then we are going to have a category state. Let's just define the category state over here. And over here, I'm just using category. Let's not put the data, but instead let's have a category. And then I just want to update the name to category as well. And inside the data, since we are using the category, we just need to update it. And now fetch, it should be fetch categories. Let's have it named as category, and this should be get categories. And we just don't need a user ID over here, so just remove it. And then what we need to do is let's just copy this and replace it all over here. And then we are going to update it to category. And here as well, let's have category. And since this is showing the error because we haven't added this to our store, this reducer, so category slice, and let's just copy this one and put it inside the index. So let's just have it over here, and we just need to import our category reducer. Let's name it to reducer slice category, and then we just going to need category reducer. And I think this will fix the error now. Okay, you just need to update it as well. Category slice. Yeah, so all the errors are removed, and now inside the index, yeah, everything seems to be working completely fine. Okay, so now let's just query our category to fetch categories. Let's just go to our home screen. We are going to display it in our home. We could have created a separate component, but right now I'm just thinking of doing this way, because these are kind of similar. So fetch categories. Okay, and over here as well, let's have use selector, category selector, and let's have a category. And then what we're going to do is like, let's just display the category. We need to, and then what we need to do is okay, we need to create a separate component for this one as well. We kind of already did that, but we did not implemented it yet. So let's create a separate component. This is the images and honor. Great. So let's have touchable opacity as well. Since when the user will click on any of this playlist, they will navigate it to the different screen, and from the different screen there will be a list of songs, I think, and from there this will be displayed. So for now, let's just handle this. Inside the home, we are we just let's put app thumbnail. Set the images. We're just going to pass this one. And then what we have, honor. And for the honor, let's just copy this one. And there is another one, I guess, which is name. And for the name, we have this one. Just paste it over here. And let's just remove it. I think this would look exactly the same. Yeah, this is looking exactly the same. And one more thing that I wanted to do is like item dot title, and when the title is popular lists, only then I want to display this one. For the rest of other, we are just going to display something else. And I just wanted to uncomment this safe area as well, so that we just don't need this one. And inside here, let's put a style of flexbox1. Just save it. Yeah, this is covering us, covering whole the screen now. And now I want to make some changes to like this album category that we are rendering. Over here, we don't need this album anymore. Uh, Earlier, we were using this because we wanted to render some dummy data. And now, since we are getting the data from the API, we don't need it. So we can just remove it. And yeah, so there's no need of all this. And we are going to update some of the data as well. So let's just have 3 of them. We don't need much. So let's just copy paste over here. We are going to handle these 3 datas only. So nothing more than that. And there's still a lot of things we need to do, like we need to display the play the songs and everything, and that is quite important. So these are the part once we finish with this, and in I think in the later on I think in the second videos after this video, we are going to in the second video we will have to play the song as well. So yeah. mm, and now what we're going to do is like we have the category, right? So if we just go to category, let me just show you something else. Like there is a developer tool for this where we are going to render. We will have to see like what categories we are getting. So these are the categories data that we are having. So over here, let's just have item dot title is equal to categories, and then we have category dot, I think, categories, and then we have items, I guess. Yeah, there is an items, and then we're going to map the items. So let's just map it using item, and let's just, for the item I could have defined the interface but or type, but I'm just thinking of putting it any for the sake of time, for the sake of saving some time. So I have thumbnail, And over here, I think we have the exactly same structure. No, we don't have the same structure. So name would be item. How this one looks. Item dot name, right? Let me put it in a separate. Not this one. Let's move it over here. And then just so that it is just visible. I thought it is not visible to anyone. So item dot name, and then we have item dot name, and we have the ID. So for the honor, we are going to display item dot what was it, dot ID, and there's images. So for that, we have item dot icons 0 and URL. Okay, so let's just have item dot icons and then first one and then URL. I think this should work. Just save it. Okay, I made a spelling mistake over here. Categories, let's just save it. Yes, so our all the categories are being rendered over here. And there are a couple of more things. Actually, there is one more API that I wanted to integrate on the home screen, and that will go inside the happy vibes. And let me just quickly do that as well. And to do that, what is that API actually? And that API is album release. So we are going to have album. So let's just create a slice for the album as well. And I'm just going to copy paste the code since it is exactly the same that we have created inside the category. Just few changes are there, and inside the services API as well, we are going to have a endpoint for get release. I'm just going to paste that as well. Okay, we don't need the base URL over here, right? I just explained you. And when we go to our album, and since this is showing the error because we haven't defined the album inside our index, so we just do that quickly. And let's have album reducer. Album, and let's put a album reducer, and let's just save it. And I think, yeah, so this should work. Yeah, now what function we have inside the album is we don't need to open this one, but this one album. Inside the album, we have this album release function. So we're just going to implement this inside our home screen. So let's just go to our home, and we are going to dispatch that function as well. Let's just import it, and then we are going to have const use selector album release. I think that's the name of the selector, right? And then we have album, I think. Is it album release? Yeah, it's album release. Then we have release actually. I just save it. Maybe that's why it is not suggesting me. Okay, from where this is coming? This is even coming or not? Oh, okay, this should not be a function, but it should be an album selector. Yeah, now this is showing the release. Okay, instead of category, let's just render the release now. And for to render the release, we are just going to copy the same thing again. And over here, I made some mistake while copying it. Just copy this one. And we have this happy happy wives, and we just have release. And if we go over here, we have release albums. Just put it albums, item, and inside the item we have this I think this follows the same structure, this one. So we might just can copy and paste this. Let's just save it. Let's see. Yeah, so we have rendered this happy vibes as well. So we have successfully implemented this whole thing, and we have also refactored our code. And yes, so we have these all category rendered, and we have also successfully refactored our code. We have introduced the interceptor, which we are going to use later. And when we are going to handle the refresh token, right now we are not handling the refresh token. So basically, the access token is getting expired in I think 1 hour, within 1 hour. Yeah, and the reason I haven't have to handle the refresh token yet is when I'm making this request, this use auth request, I'm not getting the access token over here. Maybe there is something I'm doing wrong. So I just need to figure it out. And once I will figure it out, I will try to work on that. So yeah, so this is it for this video. If you like the video, consider subscribing and stay tuned for upcoming videos. And thank you for watching.